Hello and welcome to the BS podcast, where we talk the absurd, the ridiculous, and yes, the BS. Hi, I'm Dave, and joining me is my fellow connoisseur in BS, Mr. Zach. Zach, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, man. You know, over the weekend, I got my mystery seeds in the mail from China. And I planted them and saw what happened, and it ended up being fucking Audrey too. Ended up popping out of the ground from Little Shop of Horrors. So I got this giant like man-eating Venus flytrap in my backyard. That's going to start taking over the world soon.
They warned you, buddy, and you just had to plant the seeds, didn't you? That's hilarious.
I got excited. I thought they were like marijuana plants or something, the seeds. So I was like, all right, let's plant them and see what happens. And then I got this,
give it a shot, right? I mean, you never know it. That is hilarious. Zach, the hurricane, it dodged me here on the west coast of Florida, and it made its way up and by your area, huh? How you doing over there?
Doing fine. They made a big stink about it as usual. It's pretty much all the way already like on its way out. The storm is like, it feels like it's very fast moving, because originally like a couple of days ago they said it would be up here by like Tuesday night, and then they changed it to like Tuesday afternoon, and now they said it should be out here by like noon. So that's like a half hour from now. So it's just been a lot of rain, but it's like every day. It's like every 5 seconds it's like, oh, my phone's going off like tornado warning, this and that, and it's like, I'm not right on the water, but I'm pretty close to the water, and it's like it has not been that bad.
Okay, now what are your thoughts on? I mean, this is the tornado. I mean, this is something maybe there's nothing you can do, right? If a tornado is coming through and going over your house, I mean, you just got to pray that.
Yeah. They say I can remember like being little and like there's being tornado warnings, and like we had to go like hide under the bar in my dad's basement. But like what's going to happen at that point? The tornado runs over your house. You're covered in rubble, so
you're screwed. And I call it the reverse lottery in that one. You just gotta hope that your number doesn't get called in that case.
Yeah, you go outside and get impaled by like some flying debris, or you go stay inside and get like crushed to death by rubble. So
you had some concern. You told me about some possible flooding at your house. You doing okay with that?
So far, I think I'm only going to be worried about it really if we lose power, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point. It's not that windy out. I live in a neighborhood where all our power lines are buried underground. So
I saw a funny meme on the internet yesterday. It was like, Florida people don't fear hurricanes. What we fear is losing power and having no AC for.
Yeah, that's the worst.
That literally is the fear. I don't care what. Yeah. What death and destruction. I just don't want to lose my air conditioning.
Yeah, right. I feel like I don't know about you guys, but in this area, every time a hurricane like comes through this area or passes by, it always like cools things down here by like 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Like it's been in the high 90s. Like this past July was the hottest month on record for this area. Mm-hmm. And right now it's like in the 70s. So it's like beautiful outside. I mean, besides the rain and wind, but I mean,
yeah, when
temperature-wise, it's great. So it seems like every time there's a hurricane, it's like it cools things down significantly,
and sucks all that moisture and stuff with it as it passes over.
I don't know, but it's great. So that's why if we lost power, I'd be like, I'm not worried about the AC. I would just pop up the windows and get some of the cold air coming in. But it's like during the summertime in Maryland when it's like you have those random, really heavy thunderstorms in the middle of the night, and it's just brutal and humid, and that knocks out your power. That sucks.
Yeah, that's certainly no fun. Well, thankfully, the thing's moving past you and not going to do any damage so far, it seems like. So good luck on that. And hopefully a tornado doesn't take you out.
Yeah.
For me, I'm doing well. They don't have a whole lot of hyper-local BS. Although, when I put this shirt on to record, it feels like it shrunk. So I'm dealing with some immediate BS here.
Yeah.
I think my shirt shrunk a little bit.
On Friday, I went to the doctor. I've had this like pain in my foot for like 6 months now. And I never got looked at because like I was going to, and then COVID happens. I was like, I'm not going to go overflood the doctors, for just some little pain in my foot. But it just hasn't gotten better. So I'm like, all right, I should go get an x-ray just to see if there's, some kind of fracture. And so they told me, they were like, all right, there is a fracture there. You need to go see a specialist or something. They're like, we're going to send the x-rays to them. We're going to give you x-rays for your records so you can look at them yourself or whatever. I'm like, okay, great. So like I went home and they gave me a CD and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go look at my x-rays. Just, why not? And I plugged them into my computer, and like you need a special program to look at them. It's not just like JPEGs or something. It's like you need like this x-ray like program that only like the doctors have. So it's like, well, what the hell is the point of you giving them to me then? Like on a digitally, right? I can't even look at them.
Well, that sucks. So, otherwise, I'd say throw them up here on the screen so we could analyze your foot.
Yeah, I know.
That's ridiculous. Everything is just gatekeeping. That's why they have to protect, because if you had access to that program, you might actually learn how to figure out your own X-ray, and then you wouldn't have to pay a doctor something.
Oh, yeah.
So this is make sure that they can keep their salaries really high.
But I remember like back in the day, they would actually give you like printed out X-rays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now,
I still got mine.
Now they're like, here's a CD, but I'm like, well, I can't fucking view them. So what's the point of this? Now you're just wasting blank discs and paper, because it came with a little paper sleeve. So
what happened to your foot?
I don't know. It just started hurting. Like it was one of those things where it just gradually started hurting like over the winter time, and it never got better, and it's just been getting worse. I was worried I had gout, but
what's gout?
What's gout?
I don't know what it is.
You don't know what gout is? I mean,
I've heard of it, but I don't know what.
I'm not a doctor, but it has something to do with some kind of like acid, like some acid or something that like builds up, and you get these like crystals that like build up in your joints and your feet, and it's like really painful. Apparently.
That doesn't sound fun.
But like it's like all the symptoms of it. Like it doesn't hurt really when I walk. It hurts sometimes when I walk, but it's just like I wake up in the middle of the night with it. It burns so bad that it like wakes me up in the middle of the night without even like moving. So I'm sleeping, which is apparently like a telltale sign of like gout. But I don't think I have that. So I'm trying to make an appointment with my primary care so they can like, I don't know, figure out if that's what it is.
Yeesh. I got a little fracture. The only thing I know,
maybe it's a fracture and I have gout. So
could be both. Well, I hope not. I think my knowledge of gout is I think there's a line in an Adam Sandler song where he sings about gout. That's about it.
Yeah.
So I'm not an informed American when it comes to gout.
Yeah. All I know is it's like you got to drink a lot of cherry juice and stay away from beer and like shellfish, I think.
And you're like, I love beer, and I live in Maryland, and I eat a lot of crab, so I guess I'm screwed. All right, so Zach, what are we doing today? We're counting down the top 5 most BS stories of the last week, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We got a lot this week too.
We do. Every week we've got there's so much bullcrap going on out there, and tons of crazy stories, people doing ridiculous things, and but we narrow them down to 5, and then we count them down. Do you want me to run through the 5 stories, or do we want to keep it a little bit of a mystery for everybody as they're watching?
Let's run through them.
All right, we've got story number 1 is 2 teens arrested for chalking preborn lives matter on a sidewalk in D.C. And we got a story here, Minneapolis Police to citizens, give up your goods to thieves. Story number 3, Florida man fraudulently obtained millions in PPP loans. This guy's a real piece of work here. Story number 4, no silver bullet. The World Health Organization's Tedros warns that COVID-19 vaccine may never be found. And finally, to wrap things up, KFC secret recipe Crocs are a hot ticket. Finger licking gone, Zach. It's just absurd what they did here. All right. So let's get into story number 1. As we talked about, 2 teenagers arrested for writing with chalk on a sidewalk. This is not a joke. So let's go to the video here.
This is our constitutional right. We do this every Saturday.
Hey folks, I need to tell you now that if you continue talking, you're going to be placed under arrest for defacing property. Okay, I'm giving you the warning. You understand that, right? If you continue talking, you're going to be placed under arrest. Okay. These 2 people.
You know they do this every Saturday, right?
Every Saturday. I majored in political science.
Well, I just want to jump in here. Majoring in political science doesn't mean you know everything about the law. I just want to jump in there real quick.
Public property.
Every Saturday, people are here talking, and you're taking somebody, young people, and arresting them because they're simply putting Black preborn lives matter. You gotta be joking. You gotta be absolutely joking that you would take young people that are simply putting on a sidewalk chalk that they are standing for preborn Black lives.
Who's on his shirt? I can't see.
Have to be joking. We're standing
on his shirt, I think it's Frederick Douglass.
Where they kill children every day.
And of course, the kids have on white T-shirts that say "Preborn Black Lives Matter." All right, I think so they're arrested. So So what the hell's going on here? Particularly, all right. So first of all, I mean, clearly the cop says if you do it, you're going to get arrested. They did it. They got arrested, right? So fine.
Yeah.
But that's not really the story here, is it? I mean, the idea, particularly given what we've seen in this country since, say, late May, what's been going on all around with, something as innocuous as chalk on a sidewalk, Zach, this seems a tad bit absurd and certainly bullshitty, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean, what's the argument that they're defacing public property?
That is
because the sidewalk is public property. They're allowed to be there. Right. So the next time you see a little kid drawing chalk on the sidewalk, are they defacing public property too?
He needs to be arrested. That's right.
I think it's only that cops see an easy target and they know, like, I can easily put handcuffs on this guy and not cause this gigantic stink. Right.
You nailed this thing. You hit the nail right on the head. These are the easiest, softest targets for cops. You are absolutely right. These kind of people are there. I mean, they didn't resist. They yelled and complained. They knew. I mean, they were basically doing a civil disobedience, I guess is what I would call it. They're not going to go destroy anything. They're not throwing bricks at cars. They're not going to go try to ruin the lives of the cops or do whatever some of the bad actors do. These are. I mean, look at this kid. This kid's a total nerd. I mean, not going to do anything. I mean, God bless him for standing up for what he wanted to do. But this kid's not going to hurt anybody if he tried. So
yeah,
I think you're exactly right. The cops found an easy target here.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm pro-life or pro-choice. I'm not going to go there about my beliefs, but regardless, everyone does have a belief. Everyone has the right to protest. Everyone has their right to free speech, and they were not doing it in a violent way. They were just using their rights as Americans. And so what? They wrote chalk on a sidewalk, right? Guess what? There is a storm coming up the East Coast right now. That shit would have been erased by now. It would have been gone by now, right?
And you take a bucket of water and it's gone.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And, in particularly, Zach, within the context of other things that have been going on, here's a story here from the Daily Caller. Now, not an unbiased news source, I understand, but it does help provide that context, which is that, we got 2 arrests here for defacing property. It says, headline, police made 4 arrests for defacing property as D.C. faced occasional destructive riots. Then they arrested these two. So during all the protests since late May to now, the DC police only arrested 4 people. I find that not unbelievable, but then the fact that they just find these 2 guys. Let's look at some examples of. Yeah, I'm going to share the screen here, Zach, of this story. They've got some pictures here that are useful. Here's one. I don't. These people didn't get arrested. Trump. Oh, I shouldn't say that. F Trump. Let's edit that back. Here's another one. Now, I would say, I mean, what would you say is more defacement? This, Zach, or?
well, one is a little more permanent, and I think the one we're looking at right now.
Yeah, exactly. Here's another one. I don't know who Albert Pike is. Now this here, we got more here. Now they only could find, so he's back. So there's just 3 pictures here in the story. I think completely illustrate the point. And something that we've been hitting on for weeks now, which is this there's 2 rules, 2 separate rules. There's one set of rules for the BLM protesters, and there's another set of rules for basically anybody else. And while these kids did have the phrase Black Lives Matter on their shirts, it was a different form of the argument, so they were still disqualified and we're going to be subject to arrest. That's how I see the world. What do you think? Yeah,
I mean, maybe the rule of thumb now means just to be as violent as possible and you won't get arrested. I don't know. I mean,
because and I think what you were hitting on maybe earlier, maybe left unsaid, was that cops are afraid of the BLM people, aren't they?
Yeah,
they have genuine fear. They don't want to be subject to the mob and what the mob might do to them. They've got no fear of these group of people, and it is interesting to think of it that way. Particularly, so in a sense, the BLM people, they have legitimate power in our society because they can actually keep the cops from doing anything because the cops are scared. Whereas these people, these pro-life people, have basically no power in the system, and the cops are all too willing to arrest them. I mean, this is absolute BS from top to bottom.
100%. There's nothing else you can really say about it. I mean, there's a double standard out there, and that's just how it is.
And that's life, kid. Deal with it.
Yeah.
But I don't have to like it. So yeah, that's all I got on that. I mean, I think this is really, we're kicking this thing off with a strong one, I think. I've got a 9 for this. What do you got?
7.
7. Okay, so on the BSometer, you get a 9, I get a 7. We'll give us a total of 16. Hoping that math is right. And then let's move on.
I wanted to give it an 8, but I was like, you're going to give me shit if I give it one below you. So, you know.
You can give whatever one you want. It's okay. Don't listen to what I say, because I'm my only point here is just to harass you for no reason. So did you write yours down? So you didn't write yours down?
I didn't write them down today. No.
Okay. Don't listen to me. Don't let my. I'm just here to mess with you. All right, so let's move on to story number 2. This one comes from informedamerican.com. Headline here: Minneapolis Police to your citizens, give up your goods to thieves. Now, basically, what's been going on here is that since the protests have been going on, the cops have been having a hard time keeping public order. So they sent a note to everyone in the 3rd precinct that robberies and carjackings are up, with 100 robberies and 20 carjackings reported in July alone. As we're trying to figure out what to do with the police department, the cops, and something you said too, is that that criminals are basically filling the void, right? While this whole thing is getting sorted, we're seeing like crime rise. There's no one will hit the pause button. I think as you pleaded, I think with some of the violent people, maybe maybe calm down for a little bit while they figure this out, right? But they're not listening. So Zach, with the rise in violence, the cops, I guess, are apparently not going to do anything. Basically saying you're on your own, citizens. They gave them a series of instructions for dealing with robberies that included: don't walk alone. Be hyper aware of your surroundings at all times. Pay attention. Carry only the items you need, and carry less cash. So don't take anything with you when you leave your home. Another one here: be prepared to give up your cell phone and purse or your wallet. So just surrender everything. Have your keys ready on hand as you approach your car. And then, despite all your efforts, robberies may still occur. Don't argue or fight with the criminal. Do as they say. Your safety is most important. So this is the message from the 3rd precinct of Minneapolis Police Department to citizens. Basically, we give up and then just, allow yourself to get robbed because I guess your life is more important. I mean, you're on your own, people.
They're saying it's okay to be a victim, basically. And that's, our country is built around life, liberty, and property. Like, clearly they don't give a shit about property anymore. It's coming to a point where it's like, your shit doesn't matter. Just, dude, let them do whatever they want.
Let them have it.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like, there needs to be some kind of common sense here. If someone's robbing me at gunpoint and I don't have I have no way to defend myself, of course I'm going to give them my fucking cell phone or whatever they ask for, right? I'm not going to let them shoot me. But as far as them just from point blank saying like, don't resist, don't do anything, that's taking it a little too far. Yeah, exactly. And, I don't want to make this connection because it's really strong, but I think it's the good way to think about it. Like, would you tell a woman or a man or whoever that's being, physically, like, sexually assaulted or raped, would you tell them to not resist, to just give in, just give in? No, you would not say that at all. I mean, you might say that if they got you at gunpoint or something, but still, no, you would not say that.
I mean, yeah, because it's things like, don't wear revealing clothing. This thing here, don't walk alone. So everybody needs a buddy now. It's that bad that I can't walk on the streets without a buddy. That's crazy. So if you're married or if you've got kids or, your wife goes out to the car, you got to walk your wife to the car to make sure she gets in safely. I mean, is it really that bad? I mean, this is like, what country do we live in again? Like,
who knows anymore?
And why can't, cops just have they're either unwilling or unable. I don't know which, or both. To help out citizens. And like you said, this idea that property is just meaningless because I guess someone wants it more, you have to give it to them. And it reminds me of in the beginning of the protest, which then turned into riots. And I think the most famous one was that Target store, and that might have been in Minneapolis. Do you remember seeing this, where there was a Target that basically got completely cleaned out by residents? And the refrain that I saw on Twitter was, well, Target has insurance. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if something is insured, you can just go take it? What is that? There won't be insurance anymore if these stores keep getting robbed.
Yeah, we're going to have insurance for insurance at that point.
Yeah. And yeah, what happens to, and then as things came out, particularly now for Target's probably going to be okay, but mom and pops, from what I understand, even if you have an insurance, it doesn't cover things like civil riots and stuff like that. So they may not be good. Those stores could be basically gone. Because there's a clause in their policy, or they'll never be able to get insurance ever again if they had it currently. So that is a terrible, terrible argument. And this idea, Zach, I agree. Your own property. Look, I mean, we're not talking like, if you step on my lawn, I'm going to shoot you type of property thing. But just, my goodness, my own personal belongings now aren't safe. And the police who we pay to serve and protect us are I guess, yeah, just maybe the police are already abolished. I guess this is the world now where here's a taste of a world without cops.
Yeah. Do you really think with everything going on, if you get robbed or something like that and they said, wait to call the police, you really think that's going to turn into an investigation that's going to go anywhere? No. There's so much shit dealing in the world. If someone breaks into my house, steals all my shit, assaults me, assaults whoever else is in my house, and I just let it all happen and call the police, do you think they're going to get there and really have the resources or the manpower and time to solve this case? No.
And then the one thing they maybe should have tacked on here was don't call us. Because we're not going to do anything. Now, it is interesting. I mean, how does well, now we're getting into like a society problem. How do you stop people from doing these things? I don't know the answer, but yeah, because if you get the cop isn't going to go track down if someone breaks into your house. Yeah, so that is a good point. But if that, I assume that was always the case. So this extra further guidance says, well, now we weren't really going to do anything before. Now we're really not going to do anything now. So what do you do? Does it mean everybody has to get a gun now? Because I've seen gun sales soaring.
Yeah.
If the cops will never do anything, and basically violence is allowed to just. Well,
don't. If you get a gun, don't stand in your front yard with it, because we already saw felonies against Ken and Karen in what was it, Salt Lake City or something?
That was in St. Louis. Yeah, Ken and Karen. We did that.
St. Louis.
No, I'm not sure on that. No, I remember the governor and the state attorney general were trying to get those charges dropped. I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah. So okay, so the cops won't help you, and you can't defend yourself, because if you defend yourself, that's illegal too. So where are we here? You just gotta hope.
We're not, and that's what I think is the bullshit thing about this article. Is it goes back to the double standard that we talked about in our first story. It's you have to let yourself be a victim, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, that's it. Just roll over. Roll over is the message to everybody. And if you resist, you will be arrested and you will be charged. It won't be the guy who's trying to break in your house. It'll be you. And particularly, God forbid, if you pull the trigger on that gun, you'll be the one who goes to jail and they won't. So we're screwed. So you got to hope. You have to be like you right now and hope that the tornado that's circling around just doesn't hit your house.
Yeah.
It's a tornado warning lifestyle now. This is our country. There's just tornadoes out there, and you got to hope it doesn't suck you up.
Yeah.
Well, this is really depressing. Zach, we're fucked. We're trying to reason our way through this. It's really not good, because we end up with really bad conclusions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go first on the rating here on the BSometer.
6.
Okay, 6 here. All right, so I'm gonna go. Yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, it is BS because it's a society-wide BS. But this particular one isn't the biggest one. So I'm with you there. I'm gonna go 7 here. No, you know what? I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna undercut you there.
All right. We'll
call this 11. Let's get some competition here. To our story number 3. You're all going to love this one. Miami man accused. This story comes from, all over the country, really, but this particular one comes from 7 News Miami. Miami man accused of spending federal PPP loans on Lamborghini and resort stays. Unbelievable. Now, there is a really interesting wrinkle to this, which you only get from a local story, was that this man made the news, and this story doesn't quite say it, but he made the news earlier for getting a $100 fine for not wearing a mask in Miami. And a week later, he gets busted for nearly $4 million in PPP cash now, which is supposed to go to payroll protection program. So he
was like, fuck that $100 fine. I've got like $4 million sitting in the bank. So what's a $100 fine?
Here, I'll play this news story. I don't know if you want to put this up, but it is actually kind of funny. So I wonder if that's, some people got wind. Oh, here's a guy. Now he's out there complaining about his fine. If he had just worn a mask, could he have escaped this? I don't know.
Investigators say he used COVID-19 relief funds for himself instead of for business purposes. 7's Gina Benitez reports.
I feel silly, you know.
That's David Hines last week telling our 7 News cameras how silly he felt for getting hit with a $100 fine from Miami Police for not wearing a mask in public. But that's chump change compared to the nearly $4 million he's accused of getting in federal personal paycheck protection loans given out to those whose businesses are hurting by the pandemic. The Department of Justice says Hines committed fraud. A law enforcement source confirms this is the same David Hines interviewed last week when fined for violating the mask mandate.
You got a mask on.
I think it's hilarious.
Here is a serious allegation.
This guy had no idea
Instead of funding
what
payroll,
was coming.
Hines spent the PPP money on personal expenses at dating.
He thinks he's famous, gets a little bit of attention here. He's complaining about the $100 fine, and then just a week later, busted for stealing $4 million from the government.
It's assholes like this that like ruin the whole perception of like the welfare program in the United States of America.
Oh yeah. I mean, think about here we are. The Congress is still fighting over this next stimulus bill, and they can't agree, over, they're negotiating. And here we are. And there's people from the first round that probably didn't get any money from the government, but not this guy. This weasel, this jackass was able to get $4 million. While many small businesses they can't keep they had to close or whatever. And this jackass is buying a Lamborghini. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I know people's arguments that I've heard is saying, like, you talk to some people about this and they say, well, $4 million to the U.S. government is chump change, it's pocket change, something. I'm like, yeah, but $4 million to like another small mom and pop shop is everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Even less than that, split up between like a bunch of mom and pop shops. You know what I mean? And it's just it's fucking awful.
And, it's not like this guy, used it to like pay off his mortgage or something. He spent PPP money on personal expenses at dating websites, luxury jewelry and clothing retailers, and Miami Beach resorts. And he bought a 2020 Lamborghini for $318,000, Zach.
Yeah, it sucks. I think about that. I don't know. Have you ever seen that movie Cinderella Man with Russell Crowe? There was a part in that movie where he's like going through the Great Depression and he has to like take money from like the welfare stimulus, welfare stimulus program and all. Yeah. And at the end, after he's like gets his rise to success back, he goes back and he gives the money back. And there's this like nice scene where he says like, I live in a country that's great enough that helps a man when he's down on his luck. You know what I mean? That's like kind of like the whole way to look at the whole welfare system or the stimulus or the way things happen in this country. Certainly. But when you get assholes like this, they kill the perception of that.
Oh yeah.
For everyone that maybe needs that kind of program,
because that's the most vulnerable thing. Is people are like, yeah, well, we shouldn't do another stimulus because it's going to jackasses like this, which is so funny because while this guy was the old footage of him getting that $100 fine for mask wearing. There's a quote here. He's talking about, he actually mentioned PPP loans. He's like a criminal that can't help himself. He says, quote here, he said, every single business has gone out of business. The government, that treasury, they gave $2 trillion for PPP loans for small businesses, 85% went to small corporations, he said. So he's mad too about the big the money meant for small businesses going to big corporations. He's railing about that. Meanwhile, he's stealing $4 million for himself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, talk about, just jackass hypocrisy here. He's toting the line about big corporations getting the money when they should go to small businesses, and meanwhile, he's stealing it. Unreal. I mean, the brazenness here, I think.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about a separate issue? What do you think about the $100 fine for not wearing a mask out in public? I assume that the city of Miami has a mandate that you wear it out and about, outside. What do you think of that?
Oh, do they really?
That's it. I mean, why else would he be ticketed on the sidewalk?
I don't know. I mean, I usually don't wear mine when I'm outside.
No, I think that's absurd.
Yeah.
Now, going into a business, going into a restaurant, that's one thing, but just wearing it out on the sidewalk and out and about in the outside, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like a little bit much.
I mean, it's just $100, but I don't know. No, screw that. Okay. I'm 100% behind masks, okay, but not when you're outside. That's pushing it, and particularly, and as you see here, 91 degrees is the, temperature.
I want to know how many of those $100 fines they've given out.
Oh, this has got to be like a bonanza, right? This is better than red light cameras.
Yeah.
Jeez. So this is another high BS one, Zach. I'll go first. I'll go 7.
We'll go 8.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. This guy's a real asshole.
What a dick.
Bad criminal, right? But then I'm almost more than the stealing. I'm just as mad at the blowing it on stupid shit.
Yeah.
A $320,000 Lamborghini. I mean, unless you're a billionaire, that's a bad purchase.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to story number 4. This one comes from the World Health Organization. We know they've done a stellar job with the coronavirus and their warnings to the world. And then we got here from the WHO Director General Tedros said there may never be a, quote, silver bullet for COVID-19. And here we are saying that telling everyone, look, you got to do mask wearing, social distancing, hand washing, and testing. And this is the message to people in governments is clear: do it all. There's a number of vaccines are now in phase 3 clinical trials, and we all hope to have a number of effective vaccines that can help prevent people from infection. However, there is no silver bullet at the moment, and there may never be. And the way out is a long way and requires a sustained commitment. Zach, there may never be a vaccine. Zach, we're gonna have COVID forever.
That's what it seems like at this point. So when are we going to reopen everything? Because that's what everything's been waiting for. It's like, well, we're not going to fully open schools until we have a vaccine. We're not going to fully open works until we have a vaccine. We're not going to fully open anything until there's a vaccine. That's the excuse that we've all been hearing from everywhere.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. What if there's no vaccine? Here we are talking about opening the fall. What if there's no vaccine next year? This time next year, we're not going to open again.
Yeah.
We're just we'll never have school.
Yeah. We'll never have live music or anything like that. Comes to a point where what rules need to be in place so that we can reopen and then still be able to still protect ourselves from this thing, because obviously the mandated face mask is going to cause a lot of controversy if that's the only thing that they can think of doing.
People aren't happy about that. And then this is, we have concerns that a vaccine that may work, that may not work, or if it does, its protection could just be for a few months, not more. But until we finish the clinical trials, we may not know. So it could be something like a flu shot. You have to get it once every year or once every few months. That sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, just give it to me, right? I don't know. I mean, I hate to say it because I don't want to get sick and die, but I kind of just want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, just get it over with, the society living in fear of this thing. I mean, because to your point, what you just never open? You never.
Yeah. I mean, why would I would do a yearly flu shot for it. I already take the flu shot anyway every year, right? You get half the country that takes it because not everyone's going to take it every year.
Yeah.
Right. If the thing's going to be around forever anyway, like the normal flu, right? At least maybe if half of the country or whoever is willing to does a yearly flu shot for it, maybe it'll at least, curb it down a little bit so that way it's not as big of a pandemic.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So we kind of change our the way we look at it, right? Is that this thing's never going away, and so we got to start moving on with our lives. But what do we do in the meantime? But until they get a COVID shot for everybody, do we still stay locked down?
Fuck if I know. I mean, I'm just going to continue to do what I do: wear a mask and call it a day.
Yeah. Do you wash your hands or no?
Do I wash my hands? Yes, I wash my hands.
Do you social distance?
Do I social distance? Yes, for the most part.
Have you been tested?
No, I have not been tested.
No, neither have I. See, I want to get a test just so I can. I want a test. I want a positive test. I guess that's maybe what I was.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it when I went to patient first get my foot X-rayed. They have their testing center, and I asked them about it, and they were like, "Well, you can, but we just suspended our testing." So I was like, "All right." I was going to see if I could do the antibodies test just to see if
just to see, yeah,
because I was up in New Jersey a few weeks ago, and I remember like coming back and like, just not feeling too great, not feeling like I had a flu or anything, but just feeling like, oh, I don't feel like great today.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. There's been about, I'd say since, I guess since March, just call it that, when all this stuff kind of started, there's been about 3 or 4 times. I can't say I've gotten sick. But there's been about 3 or 4 instances where I felt really crummy for like 3 or 4 days. And I do wonder just what that is. I mean, it's a long, not that I'm sick all the time, but it actually is kind of a long period to not get a cold. Have you gotten any colds or anything since?
No, not really. I mean, I really haven't had any symptoms of it. I think the only thing that happened like a few months ago and during one of those phases where I just wasn't feeling great. I wasn't necessarily like sick, but like I just felt sluggish or whatever. I remember like I was eating something. I was like, this doesn't taste very good. Or this is bland. This doesn't taste like anything. My wife was like, really? She was like, I think it's like got a lot of flavor. I'm like, I don't taste anything. And she was like, that's a symptom of COVID, right? I'm like, oh, fuck. So then I was like, great. Now, so do I have it?
Oh, it scared the crap out of me. Thanks so much. Yeah. The taste bud thing. But in fairness, there's a myriad of symptoms. And the taste bud thing is just one of them.
Yeah.
Some people have stomach distress. There's a whole But I think we've had a similar experience. Anyways, so I mean, there may not be a vaccine, or it may just be a flu shot. I don't care. I don't care what it is. If it's a vaccine, it's a flu. Or maybe, by the time they get one, it'll basically have worked its way entirely through the population that it just won't matter anymore. Yeah. I don't know.
And look, there's so many people that are out without face masks on that say, if I get it, I get it. You know what I mean? I've literally heard a woman say that. She was out in public smoking a cigarette with, whatever. And her daughter was like, Mom, you need to wear a face mask. She said, if I get it, I get it. Right. Yeah. They have a kind of like flu vaccine or a flu shot or something, and they do reopen, like people with that mentality just, okay, well then you can just not get your flu shot, not wear a mask, and everyone else that has the flu shot will be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you get to make that choice, I guess. And, I guess it comes with your own, well, whether you, I wonder where I think it comes from. I think it comes from a place of, I don't want this to be in my head. And I understand that because in the beginning, as I've told, I was like paranoid about getting this thing.
Yeah.
I cleaned everything that came inside the house. I did the gloves. I had a whole procedure that I think I walked through here in earlier episodes of the BS pod of how I avoid contamination and all this stuff. And it was literally driving me nuts. And thankfully I didn't just say, well, screw all of it. I kind of scaled back. I wear the mask. I wash my hands, and that's it. And it's the best you can do. This whole thing with everything you touch, you're going to die. I couldn't live like that. I was driving myself nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. And you are. I mean, I wash my hands like usual. If I'm going into the grocery store and they got a hand sanitizer pump, I'll use it. Yeah. Right. But I'm not going to sit there and like quarantine my mail and groceries for a week or whatever.
That's what I was doing. I literally, I was Lysoling all my groceries. I wouldn't, the mail. It was like I would bring 2 bags, with trash. I would throw the junk mail out ahead of time, and then keep the other stuff open. I don't know, it was a whole procedure that it was not sustainable because I was going to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
So let's just we just gotta hope for the best. And there is some evidence. You and I have been talking off air about what's going on in Florida, showing some of the deaths. And I think I might have showed this to the Facebook group yesterday or the day before about sorting Florida deaths by actual date of death rather than reported death. And it's a very different picture. And it shows that the peak may be passed by a couple of weeks. And, just maybe some good news. That's what I'm looking for.
So I'll be optimistic. That's the only thing we can do.
There's no choice.
Yeah.
All right. So is it my turn to give a rating here or is it, I think this one's on you. What do you got?
Yeah. You went last time. I'm going to go I'm going to go 5.
Yeah, 5 on that.
Yeah, solid 5.
I'm gonna go 3 because I'm tired. This is like, it's not big BS. It's just annoying BS at this point.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing, the whole statement was, don't get your hopes up, guys.
Yeah.
And I want to get my hopes up. I don't want to be worried. I don't want to be this, not fear mongering, but like, it's like Eeyore kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's never gonna work. We're all gonna get COVID or whatever. So enough with this. We're pushing. We're trying. We as you and I have talked about, the government's been throwing money at anybody who's willing to or say that they'll make a vaccine.
Right. Hey, cameras, Fujifilm. Who else? Kodak.
When did
the COVID camera
companies become biomedical manufacturers? When did that
I had
happen?
no idea. Like, it's like Yamaha, where they make everything. They like, you make guitars, pianos, boat engines, all kinds of shit.
It is interesting. Well, I guess you figure, if you're Polaroid or if you make, this is a business that's on its way out in a serious way. So you pivot to something else. So, well, good on them for still being around. But so let's hope that we get a vaccine.
Maybe they're going to be like this guy from Florida with the PPP loans. They're just like, we're making a vaccine, and really they're just like chilling out in Fujifilm's headquarters, like, fucking making it rain. With the government.
Sure, yeah, we do biomedical.
yeah. How's the vaccine coming? Oh, it was unsuccessful. Oh, okay.
Here's a picture to prove how bad it went.
It's like a stock photo of some scientist, like.
I know. Now you got my attention, Zach. Yeah, whatever. Here's another scam. All right, let's hit story number 5. Story here from TMZ, which is a rabbit hole in itself. Yeah. KFC secret recipe Crocs are hot ticket, finger licking gone. And what the hell is this? The most bizarre and apparently fashion collaboration between KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Crocs is a rousing success. They made
That's so funny.
Fried chicken scented and printed Crocs, and they sold out. Now, I didn't even know people are Crocs cool again?
No. I love Crocs. I love them, but they're not, like, you don't buy them for their fashion, right?
No.
I buy them because they're comfy and they're waterproof.
Yeah.
They're great Disney World shoes because, again, they're comfy and they're waterproof. It could rain all day in Florida. You're walking around in that shit. You don't get those squishing around. They're good boat shoes. They fall off. They float in the water. I mean, they're just great. They're good. They're good shoes. But again,
so you own a pair of Crocs.
I do. Yeah. But again, you don't wear them for their fashion sense. You just wear them because they're practical and they're comfy, right? That's why you see a lot of nurses that wear them, because they can wear them all day long and spill shit all over them, do whatever else, and they're fine. So I think just the whole article, like, KFC, a fried chicken restaurant, and Crocs that are not fashionable at all collaborate for fashion. It just doesn't make sense to me.
No, absolutely ridiculous. And Zach, we'll throw up a picture here of what these things look like. Horrible.
I love the little charm. It says it's got a scented charm attached to them.
Yeah. So maybe I misspoke. So the shoes themselves aren't scented, but they include a scented, looks like a drumstick.
Yeah.
This is. Now I love fried chicken as much, if not more, than the next guy. I mean, it may be my favorite food, to be honest. But I don't. I mean, the smell is only good if I'm eating it.
Yeah.
And I don't want like. Oh yeah, that's my clog charm.
Yeah, it's like when Oscar Mayer was making the bacon scented alarm clock. Do you remember when that was going around?
No, I didn't know about
yeah, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, something where Oscar Mayer made this like little alarm clock that had like bacon scent in it, and when your alarm set off, it would like shoot out the scent, and it would go off so you could smell bacon and then wake up to it.
Did they steal that from the episode of The Office?
They might have, where Michael burns his foot on his George Foreman. Yeah, they probably did.
That is hilarious. That is stupid.
Yeah,
that is very stupid. Wow, these sell for $60 a pair, with $3 for each sale going towards KFC nice. Foundation's employee scholarship funds. So you can
nice.
You can send them to school, and then it comes with a chicken scented gibbets charm. I don't know what the heck a gibbets charm is. Do you?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, I didn't know what that meant either, but I saw the picture and I said, yeah, it looks like a drumstick. So I guess that's what they're, calling a drumstick, gibbets.
That's stupid. I'd like to call out some really stupid writing on TMZ if you allow me to read this final paragraph. KFC says the bad news is the Crocs are sold out. The good news is real buckets of chicken are still available. We guess you could rub some secret sauce recipe on your regular Crocs. You'd fool your cat, your dog, but that's about it. What is this writing?
I want KFC probably paid them a lot of money to write that paragraph.
They probably did.
So it's nice that it's going to charity, but I guess the bullshit for me lies is that in order to get people to give to charity, we have to make fried chicken scented and imprinted Crocs, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Nothing was stopping KFC from sending a portion of their retail proceeds to their scholarship fund. They didn't. That could have been going on. But I guess we got a little gimmick here, and it did sell out. So this is really dumb. All right. Do you have more on this?
No.
It's just weird. Who wants this? That's the BS to me. So
yeah.
It's not astronomical, but I'll give it a 6. What do you got?
Oh, I was gonna go 2.
You know what? All right, let's stick with it. So we got 8. Now, why do I have 6? I'm going to solve this. I'm going to go 5, so we don't have to deal with a low end tiebreaker. So we'll go 7. All right, so that sorts out our top 5.
All right.
Well, I do like Zach. I do want to mention you've been doing a much better version of the board.
Well, yeah, so people can see it.
Yeah.
For all of our online viewers that aren't listening to it on a podcast platform.
That's great, and as opposed to this stupidity with my writing. But here we are. We've counted down our top 5. Zach, number 5 is a number 5 story. In fact, the KFC Crocs is number 5. Coming at number 4 is the no silver bullet Eeyore from WHO, telling us you're all going to still keep dying and getting sick. So good luck. That was number 4. Number 3 is Minneapolis telling residents they are on their own when it comes to getting robbed. We cannot or will not do anything to help you. So go screw. Number 4 is the PPP fraud. This guy's stealing nearly $4 million, buying Lamborghini, all this bullshit. Mm-hmm. All the while complaining about PPP money going to large corporations. I mean, that took some cojones. Man, coming in at number 1, Zach, the pre-Black Lives Matter dweeb getting arrested for chalking the sidewalk. The poor kid, sidewalk. The poor kid and his female compatriot. Getting arrested for putting some chalk on the sidewalk for their political message is not allowed. We only allow certain endorsed political messages, and if you run afoul of that, you will get arrested. That is absolute bullshit, Zach.
That is one big pile of shit.
Yeah, and the more violent and destructive your messages are, the more you can get away with it.
Yeah, it's a good lesson for all of us, right? If you want your voice heard, you need to be violent.
You peaceful protest. If you peaceful protest on either side of the line, whether you're Black Lives Matter or whatever else that may be, if you peaceful protest, you're going to get arrested.
God, I don't want to get off in a rabbit hole, but that is interesting. You make that point because it seems to ring exactly true. And
we've seen videos of Black Lives Matter peaceful protesters getting arrested for just protesting peacefully, right? It's on both sides of the line.
It is such a great point. And then it does make you wonder then. So that's why people get violent so that they can make, but what are they? I don't know. It is an interesting point you make, that the only way, because you've heard these quotes, the only way you could actually make change is to go out there and be violent, which is not something we want to encourage. And I think it's a bad idea, but it is interesting that you make. They basically have been, these groups have intimidated the state, intimidated police forces in a way where, like these preborn BLM kids, they lost, right? Well, they did get their message out, so it would be interesting to see what further developments we get, maybe if the police department apologizes or something, but I tend to think not, right?
No, I don't think the police force is going to say a damn thing about it.
No, you really did raise an interesting point here at the end. Something really worth thinking about.
I finally said something smart at the end of the show, and that's debatable.
It was smart. It really got to the heart of the matter. There really is something in that story there that it does give a lot to think about in the way society works. and kind of the way, I guess, power works in our country. It is a little bit eye-opening to see it this obvious, because things are, I guess a lot has been revealed over the last few months, I would say, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And not in a bad way. We've kind of pulled the curtain back on how things operate. And it's a bit scary because it doesn't seem like there's anyone behind the wheel. The car is just going.
I guess I'm kind of used to it because Baltimore City has been on autopilot for so long that, it's like the rest of the country is now following us. So it's like, okay, well, I'm used to it. So we've been through mayor after mayor after mayor. And so
nothing new for you. So that's the hope of America is we're all going to become Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to all split into like-minded nations and then that'll be it.
Oh, I don't know. I just hope we can all survive this thing. Come out better at the other end.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to know what all of you think about the topics that we covered today. We're talking the absurd, the ridiculous, and of course the BS. And I love all of you to subscribe to this channel. If you've enjoyed this video, to hit the like button. And Zach, beyond this channel, we've got 3 great websites that everyone can go check out if they want to get stories like this.
Yeah, 3 great websites. So our OG flagship, Informed American, original gangster, informedamerican.com. That's where we do political, current events, news, all that kind of stuff. If you're into health, you want to research a little bit about your future as far as your health is concerned. Also big pharma, Medicare, all that good stuff. realhealthynews.com. If you are a finance guy or gal and you are just working on your portfolio, all kinds of stuff, that's where you go to wallstreetwirenews.com. Everything finance related is there.
Absolutely. For Zach, I am Dave, and I've had enough of this BS.
You've been listening to the BS Podcast with Dave and Zach, part of the Informed American Radio Network. Please like and subscribe today in order to get fresh new weekly episodes. Please send us your BS stories to info@informedamerican.com. The world is hard enough, and now we gotta deal with this bullshit.